The idea actually crossed my mind the day I got my new dentures. I still remember well that I jumped out of bed about 8 o'clock and ran to the bathroom before the children occupied it. It was a gloomy January morning, with a dull gray sky. I glimpsed through the square window opening the back garden, as we call it. It is a rectangle of 10 meters on 5 feet and covered with grass. In the middle of it is a barren spot, surrounded by a shrub plant. It is a garden in the back of every Ellesmere house, with the same grass and the same side of Rabat. The only difference is that where there are no children there are no barren patches that have been raised. As I tried to shave my face with an old blade and the water spurted into the bathroom sink. Looking at my face in the mirror, below, in a glass of water on the sink rack, the dentures that were supposed to fit this face appeared to me. That's because dentist Warner handed it over to me temporarily, waiting for him to get the new dentures ready. In fact, my face is not reprehensible. Red skin, blonde hair in the yellow of butter, pale blue eyes, and a head, thank God, neither bald nor gray. With these prosthetic teeth, I will probably look younger than my actual age of 45. As I said to myself I should buy razors, I plunged into the bathroom sink, scrubbed my arms with soap, freckled fat arms up to the elbow, and brushed my shoulder blades because I couldn't wash them without it. It is a pity that many parts of my body are out of my reach because of my obesity. This does not mean that my body is deformed so that my appearance is correct so that people can be amused with my appearance. My weight never exceeded 90 kilograms. And the last time I measured my waist, it was about 1 meter and 30 centimeters or 40, I don't remember exactly. My stomach is not dangling to the knee. And I am not one of those disgusting bodies. It's just that I'm wide hips, a little round like a barrel. Have you heard of those friendly, athletic chunky guys who make for fun in the group? I am one of them. Anyway, people call me fat and good. The good fat bowling, and my real name is George Bowling. But I did not feel myself at that moment the one who brings joy to the group. I said to myself that my mood these days is almost always turbulent early in the morning, although my sleep is excellent and my digestion is good. Of course I knew why, those damned prosthetic teeth. It was made even larger by the water in the cup, grinning in a gruesome way that reminded you of the skulls of the dead, and made you feel in your cold mouth as if you had been bitten off. Mes apple. You may object that dentures are an inevitable thing in human life, but when another falls from your natural teeth, you can no longer delude yourself in the handsome Hollywood movie actors. As for me, I am a fat man of 45 years old. And when I rubbed my intimate parts with soap, my picture looked better. What is rumored about the body that they cannot see their feet is just nonsense. Except when I stand upright, I see only the front half of my feet. As I rubbed my throat, I said to myself, I would never interest a woman unless I paid her for it. But there are many reasons, it seems, that made my mood better that morning. The first is that I am free from work that day. Because the old cart I use for my tours, I should tell you that I work in an agency that insures life, fire, robbery, shipwreck, etc., is called a flying salamander, is in repair. Although I had to go to the London offices to deposit some papers, I had enough time to visit the dental clinic and pick up my new dentures. Besides, there was something on my mind for a while now, which was that I had 17 pounds that no one but myself, at least in the family, knew about. Here are the details of the case. A colleague of mine in the office named Mellors has found an old book, The Application of Astronomy to Horse Racing, which shows how everything in a race depends on the influence of the planets and the color of a jockey's clothing. In one of the races, she was participating a mare called the Pirate Bride. who had no luck in winning, but her knight was wearing a green uniform, which is the color of happiness according to the movement of celestial bodies. The astrology-obsessed Mellors bet with a few pounds on that mare, and begging me to do the same. And under at the end I risked 10 shillings even though I don't gamble. The Pirate Bride easily topped the race. I don't remember the exact amount we earned, but my share was £17. Instinctively, not without a curiosity, and perhaps marking a turning point in my life, I deposited it in the bank without mentioning anything to anyone, something I had never done before. If I were the ideal family head, I would buy a dress for my wife Hilda or shoes for the kids. But I had been a good head of the family for 15 years, and I was starting to get fed up with that. After I scrubbed all my body with soap, I felt better, and I dived into the tub to think about the £17 and what I could do with them. I had 2 options: to look for a woman to spend the weekend with, for example, or to spend the money simply for days on trivial matters such as cigarettes and whiskey. As I turned on the hot plate and thought of the women and the cigarettes, I heard a noise on the 2 steps at the bathroom door, a noise like a herd of buffaloes. They are the 2 children, of course. 2 children in a cramped house like ours is like a beer in a mug. I heard a frantic stampede, followed by a frightened call. I want to go to the bathroom, Daddy. Water tap, not now. Get out of here. But where am I going, Daddy? Find another place to go. Strange, I'm taking a shower. I don't have anything to do. I knew that screaming was a bad omen. It was fate that the toilet in our house should be located in the bathroom. I emptied the tub and dried up as quickly as I could. When I opened the door, Billy, the youngest son, 7 years old, stepped out in front of me, dodging my blow. When I had finished getting dressed and went looking for my tie, I realized that my neck was still sudsed with soap. It is annoying to find soap on your neck. It's really disgusting, and the weird thing is that no matter how hard you try to wipe it off, your skin still feels sticky all day. I went down to the ground floor, moody, jumping for a fight. The living room of our house, like all other houses in Ellesmere, is narrow, 4 meters long and 3.5 wide. Made even narrower by the wooden buffet where the 2 glass jugs and the silver egg cooking machine we received as a gift from Hilda's mother at our marriage were placed. Behind the teapot, Hilda stood stunned because the News Chronicle announced that the price of butter had gone up again, or something like that. Despite the closed windows, it was too cold in the house because she didn't turn on the heater. I bent down to light it, noisily breathing through my nose, as I usually do when I have to bend over. And Hilda gave me the side look she used to give me every time I did something wrong. Hilda is 39 years old. The first time I saw her she was like a hare, and she still is. But she was emaciated and withering. Her appearance suggests that she is always anxious. When she was overwhelmed by worries, she puts her head between her shoulders and clasps her arms on her chest like an old gypsy watching the fire in the hearth. She is one of those people who takes pleasure in anticipating trivial disasters, of course. As for major disasters such as wars, earthquakes, plagues, famines and revolutions, she's not worried about them. What bothers her is the steady rise in the price of butter, the exorbitant gas bill, the children's shoes that are about to be torn, and the rest of the radio installments. This is what concerns her. I ended up being convinced that she had fun when she said to me, swaying her arms crossed over her chest, "But it's dangerous, George. I wonder how our fate will be. Where do you want us to get the money? It seems that you do not realize the seriousness of the situation." These words keep repeating in my ears tirelessly. She convinced herself that we would inevitably end up in a shelter. The strange thing is that if he believed her, the effect on her would be much less than what would happen to me. On the contrary, you will undoubtedly enjoy what you will feel safe there. The two children had gone downstairs after taking a shower and got dressed as fast and noisy as they did when they noticed that they weren't bothering anyone in the bathroom. And when she sat at the breakfast table, they were flanked by Tinsel, saying, "Yes, I did it." He would reply to her, "No, I did not do it. I did it. If I had not broken them." They would have spent the whole morning fighting and arguing. They never stop fighting even though they are only two, 7-year-old Billy and 11-year-old Lorna. I get a strange feeling about them most of the time. I can hardly stand them. As for their conversations, they are simply unbearable. They are at that point exhausted from old age. They have nothing to do but ask about things like the ruler, the quill, and the French signs. In other moments, especially when they sleep, I feel differently about them. During the bright summer evenings I sit by their bed and they sleep sometimes, with their hair darker than mine, and my guts tremble, as it is said in the Bible. In these moments I say to myself that my value is the value of a dry pea, and that the most important thing it is to take care of these two beings who bear my blood, and to take care of them until they grow and become equal. But this feeling is limited to those moments. Most of the time, my existence does not seem trivial to me. I feel so good. I do not lack vitality and energy, and that beautiful things await me in life. As for the idea of me being a dairy cow surrounded by a gang of women and children, it never crossed my mind. We didn't talk much at the dining table. Hilda was engrossed in her dark thoughts. I don't know what our destiny shall be, for many reasons, including the price of butter, and the Christmas holidays coming to an end, and we still owed the school £5 from the previous semester. I ate my boiled egg, and spread a piece of bread with compote. Hilda was determined to buy a Golden Crown compote, the price of which did not exceed a few pennies. It was written on his card, in the smallest letter allowed by law, that it contained a percentage of neutral fruit juice. I began to taunt from the factory in that sarcastic tone that I sometimes take, pointing to the neutral fruit trees, inquiring about her appearance, and about the country in which she grew. I became furious, not because I mocked her, but because she finds, in a mysterious way, unreasonable to sarcasm all that allows frugality. I looked at the newspaper, but I couldn't find anything new. In Spain, as well as in China, massacres are taking place as usual. And at one of the train stations the legs of a woman were found in one of the waiting rooms. Journalists also wonder if King Zog will reconsider his bride. Finally, at 10 in the morning, earlier than I expected, I left the house. The two children went out to play in one of the neighborhood parks. It was a nasty and cold morning. On the threshold of the door, I felt a sharp gust of wind touching my soapy neck, and suddenly I felt that my clothes were sticking to my body, and that I was sticky from my head to the soles of my feet.